I don't think it changes much on strategy. When we were here in the spring, it seemed to be about equal for, what was that, a lap and a half or something like that, where you would go down about a lap and a half. So, I think this time around might be a little bit less than that, obviously. So, not by much, but it's just going to be a different rate of what you got to slow down to under green, because under yellow it's still the same 45 all the way around. So, everybody's probably looked ahead to that and planned, at least they should have, with their lights and everything else. So we'll just see what that looks like here, getting out there and going.
All right, let's go to Jordan.
The Athletic. When you look at the schedule, there's been a lot of talk about maybe international races, whether it's Europe, Middle East, wherever. Do you see that having a place in NASCAR at all in the future?
I have a really funny answer, but I'm going to leave it alone.
No, please.
Yeah, no, I do. I feel like there's definitely the potential for that, whether it's North America, South America, even a different continent. I think there's some opportunities that are out there, so it'll be interesting to see where we land with that. I think last week kind of showcased that you can do a street event, and we've also kind of proven the stadium aspect as well with the Coliseum. So I think that opens up a huge playbook.
Now, a week removed from Chicago, any additional thoughts on that weekend win, kind of having time to process it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it went well. I thought, considering where the team hotels we're in walking distance, that was pretty close. There was just a lot of walking, from garage area to pit road for the teams, where the haulers were parked was a little bit of a walk as well too, especially with the rain, because your notice that you get of drivers to your cars is about 4 minutes, so it's almost where you got to get into a trot to get out there on time. But that was probably the only negative, was just the weather. I thought everything else about it was really good. The practice went off pretty well. There was definitely some areas of the track where you could use tire barrier. I obviously was a tester of those that seemed to work really well, and that our cars can continue on with little damage. But just a couple spots that probably could use more, or any to begin with.
We're coming up a year now that Kurt's been out of the car. What are your thoughts on that, and kind of what it's been like the last year with Kurt kind of recovering?
Yeah, I got to work with him on the sidelines last year with the being at the Toyota camp for the last half of the year, but really haven't seen a whole bunch of him, and haven't talked a whole bunch with him, just not working with that group anymore. So being with Team Chevy, we've kind of, I guess, re-distanced a little bit, but it was not due to what he wanted as a timeline of stepping aside and being out of the car, but the way it all went down, and the way he's handled it, and the way that he's still been a part of 2311 and working with Tyler and Bubba over there. I think he's an instrumental part to some of the success that they've had early on, and so we'll see what his choices are going forward on if he continues that.
Let's go to Ben White and then to Dustin.
Ben White with Street Sport Magazine. Working on featuring Bobby House, and like yourself, overhead, anything incredible. Did you follow Bobby's career when you were younger, and talk about the respect you have for Bobby and Rush?
Yeah, I wasn't, so I was born in '85. I think Bobby was done in '89? 88, yeah. So I never watched him race, but obviously I've seen the highlights and stuff like that. So, he was an amazing competitor. I always remember him being fast in that number 12 Miller car. So, just being a historian of the sport for the little bit that I am, it's always really neat to just kind of see some of that. I know, with Davey coming in and being here, those two guys racing with each other, running well with each other, working together, all that was really cool too, as a father-son duo. Hopefully one day I can do some of that with my son as well. But he was an instrumental part of the growth of the sport during that time, and stayed around a lot and kept his face in the business to just continue to elevate everything that we all are doing. They all were doing.
Let's go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports, as you noted, just some of the different tracks that
Is
series.
that my truck?
Yeah.
Like flipping? Oh, that's an Indy car. Oh, okay. I was like, hold on a second. Okay, go ahead.
51's in the queue.
Yeah, I saw that part. Okay, I just didn't know. Moving on.
Noting the different tracks and how things have changed with the schedule the last few years, I'm curious a couple things. One, how does that challenge you as a driver with the different skill sets required or demands? And two, when you look at your son like Brexton, as you plot a course for him to work his way up, with NASCAR's evolving schedule the last few years and what it's likely to do moving forward, does that start to change or make you think about how you want to plot his direction or what things you want to include in his development, projecting what NASCAR might be like when he's ready for that?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of change happening right now. And so with different venues and things like that, Atlanta turning into a super speedway, you've got, call it 6, I guess, super speedway races, and then you've got 7 road course races, you've got intermediates, you've got short tracks, now you have a street course, so there's a lot going on with the different avenues that you can go and the training that you can do for driver development. So yeah, I mean, I'm a proponent of getting them in as much stuff as I possibly can. Some people tell me that they think that's hurting his development or slowing his development down in particular cars, and I'm like, well, yeah, but he can go run against any kid in the country and run top 3 everywhere we go in any vehicle that we run in. I feel like that's a Kyle Larson type thing, where we're not just focused on quarter midgets or outlaw carts, and he only does that, and he's really good at that, but then we can't even make an A main in a quarter midget race at a national event, so the one thing that we're a little bit short on right now is just the road course kart stuff that Keelan's been really high on. We haven't done as much of that, and Brexton keeps asking me about doing it and why we haven't done it. And I'm like, bro, there's only so much time in the day. We're pretty slammed as it is, but hopefully being able to get out to Trackhouse Motorplex a little bit more, especially as the off season gets here. That's sort of the time where I always ran road course stuff, was always winter races, so I'd love to take him out there and just kind of get his feet wet more in that.